from Sri Mayapur Dham. Very nice to see each of you. Most of you with the camera on, which is unique, interestingly. Thank you for the darshan, multi-darshan. It's hard to keep up with so many, but it's beautiful at the same time. So anyhow, today we are reuniting again in our weekly, so we have rebaptized the Ishtagosti Satsang, or meetings with the truth, trying to get attached to being honest with one another, and trying to, satsang basically means that, trying to developing an attachment for being truthful, right? But developing a taste for honesty, and we need each other for that to happen fully. So that's the intention of this circle and this Q&A, question and exploration. And today, of course, in our Vaishnav calendar, we have so many celebrations. So we were talking today in the morning, in our morning here, we gave a lecture, the last lecture in the series of how to rediscover Krishna in our lives, talking on Sri Gopastami. We were talking about Krishna becoming a cowherd boy, from being a calf herder to cow herder, and life transitions, how he's going through a transition, how the transition entails more complexity, and how Krishna is embracing that complexity, and all the Brajavais along with him enter into that new layer, what requires more integration, more harmony for integrating the new layer of complexity. And they're okay with that. They're celebrating the transition, doing a whole ritual and festival to celebrate that, to commemorate that. And yeah, when Krishna going with his friends and the cows into the forest, somehow withdraw the teaching for us. It's like entering into uncharted territory, like you never been into the forest, and suddenly, okay, from tomorrow on, you will be half of your day into the forest. And it's like, wow, what's that? What's that new adventure? But Krishna takes it in terms of adventure. So whatever seems to be, okay, immerse yourself into the liminal space and the unknown, translates as adventure. And that translates as exciting. And everyone is in for that, no? Although, of course, as we know, Yashoda and the gopis are somehow sad to know that Krishna will have of the day outside of their radar, but that suffering and separation in its own way turns their heart further, and their own love increases. So no matter what happens in the Lila, love can only increase, as we always say. Love can never become its opposite. Love can never turn into unlove. Love can only become more of what it already is, genuine love. So that's what we are seeing here. Anyhow, I won't repeat what I say today in the lecture. That's available for you. But there are many other celebrations today. Today we are celebrating the appearance day of Srinivas Acharya, a very famous, special personality in our tradition, very close to Narottam Das Thakur, to Shyamananda Pandit. We are celebrating the disappearance day of Dhananjaya Pandit, a close associate of Nityananda Prabhu, of Gadadhar Das Goswami, not to be confused with Gadadhar Pandit, another very special personality in Gaur Lila. We are also celebrating Raghunath Das Goswami's completion of his famous book Mukta Charit, the Pearl Story. I don't know if you have heard that one. That's a beautiful book, very beautiful story, very sweet, very simple. In competition between gopis and gopas, where they put a pearl on the ground, and they anyhow water it with milk, and they want a whole tree of pearls coming, and it works for the gopas, it doesn't work for the gopis, and there is a whole transcendental bullying going on there, but lots of charm and loving exchange in the hasya, in the laughter mode of the lila. And also we are today celebrating Subal Besh Milan, which personally also is a very dear pastime. So I'd like to share a few words before starting with the official invitation for quest and exploration. We are already doing that now. So we are on a quest and we are exploring that. Since I already mentioned some words about Gopastami, a few words on Subal Besh Milan, you may know the Lila. If not, I'll briefly mention. Subal Besh Milan. Milan means union. Besh means cloth or dress as Subal. So the union of Radha and Krishna when Radha dresses as Subal. As we know the story, Krishna is with Subal. Subal is his dearest and most intimate Priyanarma Sakha. No, that type of Sakha, that type of friend of Krishna who is acquainted with Krishna's romantic life, unlike the other friends of Krishna. So the Priyanarma Sakhas are acquainted with that, and not only acquainted, but they're instrumental on a daily basis in creating proximity and union and all the necessary arrangements, similar to how the Manjaris operate in the Madhurya Rasa camp. No? In fact, sometimes the Manjaris are called Priyanarma Sakhis, no? And these friends are called Priyanarma Sakhas, right? So very dear, very close to Krishna. They know his heart very deeply. So, and Subal is kind of the zenith of that. So Krishna is dying literally in separation of Radha. He's reaching the 10th stage of Vipralamba Viraha, of separation, which is Mriti, which means death. Of course, death never occurs, but death-like symptoms start to occur. Like, I cannot survive without her. Literally. That's love. Now, if you love someone, you cannot survive without her. At one point, you start to feel that. I need to join that person. So anyhow, that's Krishna's condition, and Subal knows that condition. He's not the first time that he's witnessing Krishna in that situation, but particularly in this Leela, Radha seems to be quite in a complicated situation, because she's basically trapped in her prison-like home, surrounded by a pretty dysfunctional family. 3 of them, most of them needing therapy. Jatila, Kutila, Abhimanyu. I won't go into the details of their psychology, but one is more dysfunctional than the other, basically. No, even the names of them have to do with that. Crooked and Abhimanyu, with lots of Abhiman, and so on and so forth. So, and Radha in the midst of that. No, like showing also how the ultimate personification of love may be surrounded by a harsh entourage, but at the same time, love always conquers. Love always triumphs above all possible obstacles. Actually, that's one of the definitions of prem, or love, by by Sri Rupa Goswami in the Ujjval Nilamani. He said one of the qualities or definitions of prem is that love grows despite there being reasons for love not to grow. Like, despite being obstacles that in another situation may shrink whatever quote unquote love one has. When you have real love, divine love, all these obstacles, instead of reducing the intensity of love, somehow serve as fuel for that love, and love increases. So, and Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur gives this example of a lion meeting an elephant who wants to attack the lion. So somehow the elephant is an obstacle, and the lion feeds on the elephant. He feeds the elephant and feeds on the elephant. So in one sense, the idea is the lion is being nourished by the obstacle. Right? It's no longer an obstacle. It became food. Now, the obstacle became food. So anyhow, Sri Radha is in that situation. And Krishna is asking Subal, go and bring Radha here. In the midst of the day, very complicated situation in their parakiya, extramarital dynamics. But again, Subal knows Krishna's condition, and he knows this is life or death situation. This is no joke. Again, as I like to say sometimes, on a daily basis, our eternal service will be to assist in saving the life of Radha and Krishna. Daily basis. Daily basis, they are dying from separation from each other, and the whole of Braj is helping to keep them alive, consciously or unconsciously. Those who are aware of the romantic dynamics consciously, and the other ones somehow or other being part of that, without not being fully aware of what's taking place, so to say. So Subal, as we know, he goes, long story short, because I may end up doing the whole lecture on this. So Subal, he's very similar to Sri Radha in physical appearance. No, one name of Radha is Subal Nyasta Rupam, which means her form is like that of Subal. So it's difficult to differentiate between the two, unless Radha is dressed as a gopi and Subal is dressed as a gopa, so you know who is who. But if they will change roles and clothes, then you don't know who is who. And that's, there I giving you a hint of what this Leela is about. So that's how Subal thinks, okay, this is the way to bring Radha here. So he goes to Jatila's house, and he's bringing a calf. with him. Now he's a gopa, so he can go with calves. It's reasonable. So when he's getting close, he takes the tail of the calf and like pulls it. So the calf starts to run and enters immediately into the compound of Jatila. And then Subal comes running after, like, okay, where's my calf? Like looking for the calf. And Jatila is at the door, like looking like guarding the door for, of course, the black snake Krishna that doesn't come to spoil the chastity of her daughter-in-law. That's her psychology, right? But Subal, of course, he's close to Krishna, so he's highly suspicious. But a calf entered, and he's a cow herder, so he has a reason to be there and looking for his calf. So there is some reason for him to enter into the quarter. So that's his entry ticket. No, the calf entered, and Jatila saw it. So okay, go and bring your calf as soon as possible. I don't want you to be here too much. No, you are in association with that guy. I don't like that. Probably you're getting the same samskar, so get out of here as quick as possible. So as you know, Subal enters, goes into Radha's quarters. She herself is dying in separation of Krishna, proportionately as Krishna is dying in separation from her. And then Subal brings with this particular proposal, which is to Radha, let's exchange clothes. Now you dress like me, I dress like you. So you leave this compound, dress as me. No, the calf is downstairs. You go with the calf covering your breasts, so there's no suspicion at all. And I remain inside your quarters, dressed as you. And you can have union with Krishna. So that's also, again, the creativity on the spot manifesting in service of the Leela. It's extreme, it's necessary, it's an emergency situation, and full creativity is there. So that's what happens. So Radha leaves the compound dressed as Subal with the calf on her bosom, you say. So she's leaving with the calf, and Jatila is looking, and she doesn't recognize, because she seems exactly like Subal. So Jatila herself is interesting. There she's saying to him, go immediately to Krishna. No, I don't want to see you here. So Radha is going to meet with Krishna with Jatila's blessings. Now that's how it happens. Now you need the blessings of the elders, right? So so Sri Radha is going with Krishna, blessed by Jatila. No, full legal meeting, so to say. I don't know why my hand appears. Yeah. And Subal remains in the inner quarters, dressed as Radha till somehow then she returns and they do the exchange back. We don't know that part of the story, but they knew how to figure that out, because the Leela continues successfully. And as we know, when Sri Radha is arriving to Krishna, she's arriving dressed as Subal, and Krishna is on the floor weeping and just containing his breath, unable almost to breathe in separation from her. As he is her prananath, her praneshwar, no, she is his praneshwari. No, so it's fully reciprocal. So when Krishna sees Radha coming, again, they are so similar with Subal that he doesn't recognize Radha. He thinks, oh, Subal. And Krishna is so surprised, because he's not accustomed to Subal failing his mission. I mean, Subal is so expert that he's always successful, but this time it seems he failed. So Krishna is like devastated, like, Subal, you could not bring her. No? And Radha starts to play Subal to increase the experience of rasa. She doesn't say, I'm Radha, I'm not Subal. No, that will be rasa bhas. That will be like breaking of the mood. So you have to, Sri Radha knows, when Sri Radha plays it hard to Krishna many times to extract the maximum amount of rasa and churn the whole thing. Now she's not overtly as Radha, so she has to find ways of churning the whole thing in a different way. So she plays Subal. No? So she said, no, I couldn't bring her. It was so complicated, so many obstacles, Jatila and Kutila getting in the way. Sorry, but I can bring you Chandraval if you want. No? He makes that proposal to Krishna. Remember, this is Radha talking, right? So she's invoking the main competition. Although, again, Chandraval is a cousin of Radha. They love each other. But in this particular dynamic, they're competitions. So I can bring Chandraval if you want. I mean, she's nearby. She's accessible. It's easier. And Krishna kind of like saying, no. You cannot bring me. What it say? You offer to bring me buttermilk instead of whatever. sweet rice or something. There's no comparison. No, there's no point of comparison. So at that point, Sri Radha's man or transcendental pride is like, okay, validated. Okay, good boy, you passed the test. So she touches Krishna and say just the immediate contact that makes Krishna electrified and tells her, you didn't recognize your beloved, no? And she takes out the turban and her long hair appears, and again, anyhow, happy end to the story. So on this day, many Gaudiya temples, it's very special because, again, commemorating this Lila, Sri Radha is dressed as Subal in the altar. She's not dressed as Radha. She's not dressed as a gopi. She's dressed as a gopa. So that's the only day in the year, generally, that one can see the lotus feet of Srimati Radharani on the altar. Because dressed as a gopa, she doesn't have like skirt, gopi dress. So she has like the cloth of a gopa. So you can see the feet of her, what's called Radha Pada Darshan. You can have darshan of Radha Pad, of the feet of Sri Radha. And of course, not only of the feet, but of her own charming form, dressed as a cowherd boy, which is very unique. And there are many other things to say in that connection, but we can get lost and found in that, which is the idea. But I want to share some brief words also to commemorate this beautiful Lila, which speaks about so many special, charming points into the realm of love. And of course, today also happens to be my lunar birthday. And I mention it not just as, oh, here I am, I want to speak about me, just because I feel very fortunate to having been born on a lunar level on this day. Solar is November 15, but and of course, today I received lots of messages from most of you, and I've tried to keep up and reply most of you. I have not been successful in that, so sorry for those who haven't replied yet. Give me a few more days, hopefully one day. But yeah, today I was thinking, and I told to my reply to Bhakti Rasa's message that in one sense, my thought was, okay, how to celebrate your birthday in a way that is not self-centered, that is not about you, that you are not like it's all about me, my day of the year, which I will be as close as being God as possible, so to say. And for me, it was like, okay, the idea immediately came like, not from me, basically, but okay, birthday, I'm being born today, but at the same time, we are all together in this journey, being born and dying on a daily basis, not physically, but internally. Now, in the bhakti journey, we have to die to so many things. We have to let go, we have to release, we have to be born again. There is a corresponding death to each birth. So I'm being born today somehow, but we are being born every day, and we are all in this together. So it's a collective birth. So as much as we can celebrate my being born and my dying, and my being born again Gaudiya, but born again Christians, born again Gaudiyas, and death again Gaudiyas, and born again Gaudiyas. As much as I can and I will and I should celebrate my own journey from a humble and humbling place, all of us are being born and dying together as much as we try to be aligned with this journey. So in that sense, for me, it's just, okay, I accept the fact that I'm being celebrated today, but not I as a separate being, disconnected from all of us, because we are all interconnected. So we are all being born and dying together in this beautiful journey of Krishna consciousness. So I just want to share that reflection as a way for me to also include you in the celebration and celebrate each of you as companions in the journey as well. Because again, the journey is never an isolated one, right? It's never something that one man show, so to say, or one woman show. No, it's all about one person. So a few words in that connection, and thank you so much again to all of you for your support and your friendship and your affection and your prayers. So many of you telling me like, oh Maharaj, I'm praying for you every day, and that's something simple, but that's like, wow, that's so powerful. I always remember this quote from Thomas Merton saying, we are being maintained by the prayers of our brothers and sisters. He made that point, like the main maintenance that you're receiving, and of course you can make the point from different places, but that's one way of making the point. due to the prayers and well-wishing of your brothers and sisters, you remain who you are. You can continue thriving and growing. It's big part of keeping your life and your vows and your ideals is the well-wishing and the grace coming from each one of you. So thanks so much for that. So after this not so introductory introduction, but again, there were a few celebrations today. There's no raised hand, so I don't know what's going on today. But you are invited to raise your digital hands. Okay, wow, what's going on? Oh my gosh. Now I can understand what's going on here. I was expecting something like that. Okay. So better I keep talking myself. I think that will be working.
Happy birthday, Maharaj!
Happy birthday, Maharaj!
Birthday, Maharaj!
Happy birthday!
Happy
birthday!
Happy birthday!
Thank you. And wish me happy death day also, because I'm born and dying, so it's complementary on a daily basis. There is no birth without death. There is no death without type of birth. Thank you for such an overwhelming chorus. Okay. I still see so many raised hands, so I don't know. Some of them are going down and becoming a little bit more relaxed now.
My hand is go on the dot.
Thank you so much. So nice to see you all. I'm trying to keep track of all the faces, but there are too many, even too many for one screen. So I have to go to the second part to see the rest. I don't want to miss anyone. Okay. Wow. Thank you. Okay. So we have two raised hands now. First one coming from Balaramji from Sri Vrindavan. So close, Balaram, yet so far, right? That has been our motto the last few weeks. But we'll see each other in New Zealand very soon. So please, whatever you need to bring to the circle today.
So you'll have to blame Bhakti Rasa for this, but all I'm going to do is glorify you, Maharaj, for being such a wonderful personality, and you've helped me a lot. You've helped so many a lot, and you're like a daily inspiration to me, and obviously to so many others. And wow, I don't know, I can't do it justice. Well, I'm always astonished when I think that I have this amazing friendship with you, and I hope that's going to be a long, long, long friendship. And you've connected me to so many other amazing devotees as well, and now we have this wonderful brotherhood, and I'm always just thinking, like, where's this relationship going to go next? I'm always just waiting for you to surprise me, and now Maharaj is meeting this sadhu, or he's reading this book, or he's introducing me to this new way of thinking. So it's like this wonderful roller coaster, and I can't wait to see where it goes next. Sorry, I have noisy neighbors. That's India for you. So thank you, Maharaj. You're awesome, and I can't wait to see you in person.
Jai Balaramji, thanks so much. Thank you. I really appreciate you. We have already been having exchanges today with him, and probably with all of you, most of you. And to be honest, today I was reflecting on that, just like having so many people telling you that, I mean, it's complex, no? Having people telling you, like, there's not a day that it passed without me thinking of you and listening to your class, and you're helping me so much in this and that. And it's like, I won't deny that, but what I'm supposed to do with that? Because it's like, I mean, I want to honor that properly, but it's difficult. No, it's complex without, of course, entering into any type of delirious form of arrogance and thinking that I'm like, but also you don't want to go to the other part of like, this is so much that I develop some type of indifference because it's too much. So or I take it for granted. I become accustomed to people telling you that, and it's like, oh yeah, thank you, I love you. Next message. Okay, thank you. Yeah, thank you, I love you. I don't want to normalize that, no. So it's tricky because, and I cannot deny it because that will be false humility. Not just to say, no, and I try to convince you that's not true. I'm not helping you. It's not possible. I'm so falling. You are completely wrong. Stop saying those things. I mean, that would be dysfunctional, right? If I start to fight with you to prove you wrong, that doesn't make any sense. So how to, accept those things from a place that is humbling, and not be overwhelmed at the same time, but the quantity of that and the quality of that, no, because it's not just quantity. I can feel it comes with quality. It comes with truthfulness. It's not just like cheap praise, right? Because that can happen also. You can have cheap praise and it doesn't go anywhere in one sense. No, you have cheap praise and then you have cheap criticism coming from the same person 5 minutes after. But but in this case, I'm feeling that there is a depth and there is a commitment and there is something like serious going on. So for me, it's kind of, to be honest with you, also like to share my journey on the other side of the receiving end. Like, it's not that it's something that shouldn't be happening and I'm happy, or I hope this stop happening. I'm not saying anything of that. It's just like, okay, how to honor that, how to properly reciprocate, how to receive that, how to learn not to receive, as we talked many times. No, we not only emphasize giving, but also receiving. And what if the receiving is like, what I have to receive is massive in terms of quality and quantity. So it forces me to become a better receiver. No, again, not only we have to become a better giver, but learn to receive with more and more grace, because if you try to give, that's what I'm thinking now. Actually, I'm sharing my thoughts with you, but if you try to become a giver, and to some level it seems to be working, and people then, as an acknowledgement of that, they start to give you back their love and affection and so many things, then automatically you have to become a receiver of that is being now given to you. And if you are a big giver, what I'm not saying I am, but eventually you end up receiving a lot. So that thing that comes to you in whatever quantity and quality, you need to qualify yourself as a receiver to honor that properly. You need some adhikar as a receiver. No? It's a big commitment. It's not just qualify yourself as a giver. Because sometimes we attach that as a servant of devotee means just a giver, but also it's a receiver, and receiving requires qualification. How to receive all that without going crazy, without taking it for granted, without normalizing it. I mean, all those things can happen, and that sabotages the receiving. So it's challenging. Just I'm sharing that with you. Not to say it's bad or it shouldn't be happening. It's just like, it's a very fine line, but it invites me, at least that's how I'm saying, it invites me to go deeper, to pray for more grace, to be more qualified. Grace is what qualifies us, and to be a better receiver, because we are being received by Krishna fully. We are being accepted and held by him. Somehow we need to, again, receive each other more and more fully. Not only give ourselves to each other, but learn to receive the other one in reciprocation. So it's half of the equation, right? So anyhow, thank you, Balaram. Your words triggered that reflection. So I'm extending that as a result. So thank you. Okay. Who else? Yugal Kishore's cat wants to say something. So Bhakti Rasa.
I wanted to offer
Sorry.
darshan.
Yeah, I have something, just a little. What you were just saying right now, it's so beautiful because you were talking about receiving. So it's like that is actually what everyone needs to learn how to do, is to receive grace. That's what we do on this side also, is to learn to receive, how to really receive that. That's beautiful. And I just wanted to share experience when we were trying to organize something for this day. We were going to have like a Zoom, I was going to invite everybody to a Zoom party, but then it's like, there's so many people to invite because it's not just one group here. I was thinking, okay, well then let's just invite the, like the inner group, but there really is no inner group.
Don't
There's
be
like
sectarian, Bhakti-rasa.
there's like an inner group everywhere. It was like how to do this. There's so many. The community is so beautiful and so variegated. Such a network around the world, and so it couldn't be limited. And that kind of just broke open about bhakti without borders, because it's not just this the Gaudiya world, but there's other worlds that you move in and out of very fluidly and very freely. And it is a really wonderful thing to experience and to see the love without borders. So thanks for that example and for this beautiful global network that that's been created.
Thank you for your words. And somehow maybe still it has been a little restricted, at least in terms of language, because we are talking in English here. So those who are part of the inner group but are only Spanish speaking, somehow those have been left out in one sense, of course, never left out substantially. But anyhow, we are trying our best. Eventually, maybe in time, we have some translation service simultaneously or something like that, because there is some beautiful group of souls from the Spanish speaking arena. And as you know, I like bridging so much.
Yeah.
But I have my limits also, right? So
Bhakti-rasa is going to have to let them know how to handle these Zoom calls on the Spanish Q&A.
Yeah, because that would be
Surprise
too
you
much
there.
for me, like to bring all of them now. Okay, and I will talk in English and then I will translate myself into Spanish. So everyone feels welcome, but Swami goes crazy, probably. Yeah. So, but yeah. Besides that particular detail, of course, it's beautiful for me. It's beautiful to witness the diversity and I appreciate your point, Bhakti-rasa, when saying, okay, let's invite. Okay, whom to invite? No, I mean, not because there's nobody to invite, but in the other direction, like whom not to. I mean, okay, which is the perimeter of the invitation, so to say. Oh, the perimeter is kind of broad, so it's like, but it's bewildering, but at the same time, I think it's healthy. It's healthy, for me. Yeah, I'm so identified with this idea. Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, coming from the Veda, Mahopanishad. Like, there's only one family, right? Again, there are groups, there are theologies, there are places in the spiritual world, there are diversity, and we have emphasized that a lot, too much, to the point of losing sight of the oneness and the unity and the non-duality. So I think we need to balance the equation on some level, and that happens on so many levels: philosophically, theologically, communally, socially. How we can relate from a place of seeing one family, not seeing two. Not there. If I see two, the us and them dichotomy starts to sprout. No, so how to boil it down to one? Because that's what Shastra say. There's only one family. There's only one universal Father, common to all. So sometimes we were joking the other day with the devotees. We're like, okay, our philosophy is achintya bheda abheda tattva, but many times for most our philosophy is achintya bheda tattva. The abheda part kind of like disappeared. Abheda means non-difference. Many times that part is minimized. Achintya bheda tattva, no diversity. diversity, and there's so much diversity sometimes that we stop seeing something common. We stop seeing, I don't know, the unity among the different forms of Bhagavan, and we just see like unlimited pantheon of many people, which actually it's only the same person. We stop seeing how we share a common foundation, existential foundation, interconnectedness, and we treat each other very poorly many times. We treat each other, and I'm talking about even Gaudiya communities. I'm not talking about the war in Gaza or Ukraine. Of course, that's on another level, but on another level, but that things that happen on another level begin on another level. And we may be contributing to that particular level that eventually converges into a Holocaust, so to say. Now, it doesn't mean that you will end up being an Adolf Hitler, but if you are, how to say, sowing seeds of separateness in the way you behave and treat others, I mean, you are paving the way in that direction. Whether you officially end up being a dictator or not, you are part of the problem. We are part of the problem. And I want to say you, like I'm pointing to some of you. I'm just starting at home. So yeah, war starts at home, right? That's why the whole Bhagavad Gita is presented in the template of the battlefield, right? Like war, how much of war you are. You're with yourself, with God, with the world, how much you are sowing seeds of separateness, or how much you are creating yoga, reunion, reconciliation. So anyhow, I'm the one to go on and on, but yeah, I think that it's important to. We need to keep the diversity, but just on a foundation of unity. If there's diversity without unity, good luck. So thank you for your words, and yeah. Every time each of you opens your mouth is basically increasing my commitment. No, that's interesting. No, like I mean, not to compare myself with Bhagavan at any level, but in a similar way, like Bhagavan is expressing, okay, my indebtedness to my devotees knows no end. Somehow we should follow accordingly, without imitating God, but enter into this principle that eternal indebtedness in love, so to say, you know, that's the only way to clear all other types of debts. When you enter into a debt with the department of love, then you're free from every other debt, and that particular debt keeps you in an ongoing eternal loop of trying to do something to return. But paradoxically, the more you try to do something, the more the debt increases. Not only for you, but for all parts involved, right? That's interesting. Paradox in transcendence, right? So that's beautiful. Gayatri.
Thank you so much. Happy birthday. The best and the brightest as well too. Just a moment, word of thanks as well from me to you. There's so much to say, right? I get welled up as I open mic here. You have made a tremendous impact on my life in such a short period of time as well too. So just want to maybe play off what Bhakti Rasa just offered up, love without boundaries. To me, what you do is health or without borders, sorry, health without borders, boundaries at times as well too. That's the vision of the school in which I work at the university. And I honor a colleague of mine who came up with that. He's a cousin of Will Ferrell's and has a great sense of humor, which is a quality that I love about you as well too, Padmanabha. You make us smile, you make us laugh, you share so much truth along the way, and right, that kind of laughter opens the heart up and allows us to sink into that at another level as well too. You don't hesitate to answer any question we might offer here as well too. It's just remarkable, the kind of breadth and depth on what I see as the most important things along the way. So so humbled by you and your walk through this tradition. We haven't met yet. a day apart. I was out honoring my mother's birthday and hoping to meet up with both you and Bhakti Rasa down the road, and that didn't work out earlier this year. But I so look forward to the time when that does occur here in the US, overseas in the UK, who knows, New Zealand as well too. It's remarkable the doors that you've opened authentically to all of us who sit here and others that aren't present at this particular Q&E, as it were. So like others have shared, I've grown to rely on your word as well too, on a daily basis. I so enjoy opening up a podcast or a playlist or a video. It keeps me moving in the right direction. So just thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you to all of you who are present as well too. It's amazing to me, right? I'm so enjoying as well the one-on-ones at the end of this, or getting to know you all, even if I haven't met you in person yet. It is a very strong heart-to-heart connection here, and very consistent with a Tadatmic approach to this tradition. So I could go on forever, but I'm not. I look forward to just the continued conversation and being a part of this community with your presence. Thank you so much for everything you do on the daily for us, truly.
Well, thank you, Gayatri. Wow, yeah, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, it's beautiful. I appreciate each of your words, and it's beautiful because I was thinking, you mentioned that, okay, I opened many doors for you or others, but also I feel, okay, but you opened the door of your heart to allow me to extend whatever has entered my own heart. So it's a mutual opening of doors. So again, for my own sanity, I need to bring the reciprocal part of the whole thing, so it doesn't end up being a one-man show. Because I'm not saying that any of you see it that way, and if you see it that way, it will be my best effort to dismantle that idea, because I've witnessed the consequences of entering into that template. One-man show, over-idealized, over-isolated in the top of the pyramid. So no, thank you. So I appreciate what you also mentioned, when, of course, expressing gratitude, appreciation toward me, but toward all of you, right? Because when you say that, I immediately pictured like me being in Zoom now, and suddenly all of you disappear from Zoom and it's just me. And it's like, yeah, it wouldn't be the same. Right? So again, it's not about me. No, it's about all of us put together and creating some particular unique synergy, right? So it's never a one-man show. It's even in connection to Krishna. Again, the scriptures say Eko Bahu Shyam, no, the one absolute non-dual person in the beginning, to say in the he desired to experience joy, and he multiplied, he became two, and he became many. No, like implying there's no joy just being one. No, there's no joy with just one person being the all in all. So from even that happens in the divine. So what to speak of us? How much we need each other. So yeah, I see myself more like the saffron excuse to get all of you together and sharing, and I'm just like putting some bridge in between, and then you go for the breakout rooms and have do the main thing among each other. No, so that's what excites me the most, to be honest. It's not so much I'm losing. I don't want to over concern anyone, but somehow I'm losing more and more. I mean, I like it. I'm doing it now, but somehow I'm losing a little bit more inclination to just be me only talking and everyone listening. I feel more attracted when we are all sharing, like when we have done our circle work, or when I'm having a podcast and a conversation with someone else. It's more exciting for me. It's more dynamic. It doesn't mean that I will stop giving lectures on anything, but it's another taste. For me it's a higher taste. It may be my personal experience, but when there's another person who is not me with me, there is something new coming. Of course, no. If I will be just myself sitting in front of a mirror, it won't be the same. No, I cannot do a podcast with myself putting a mirror in front of me. That won't be as exciting. That might be the beginning of madness, technically speaking. So I need all of you for feedback, for rapport, for journeying together. No, it's as I like always to say. It's even though if I may be in some cases like now or others, I'm the main speaker or whatever, however you like to call it. It's always mutual. It's always reciprocal. Even if you haven't said anything, made no question, just your presence, just your attention, just your intention. That's totally influential to the outcome, the final outcome, to whatever I'm saying. No, that happens. No, the sincerity of your approaches. It always reminds me when Srila Siddhar Maharaj will receive all these Prabhupada disciples after Prabhupada passed from this world, and they went to Srila Siddhar Maharaj with such a commitment and such love for Prabhupada and such sincerity in their inquiry. And Srila Siddhar Maharaj will speak unique things that he never talked about before. That was what Bhaktisundar Govinda Maharaj said. Bhaktisundar Govinda Maharaj was Srila Siddhar Maharaj's personal assistant, and he will tell Prabhupada's disciples, like, Guru Maharaj is talking things that he never talked before. All the things are coming because of the sincerity of your inquiry and your presence. You are turning all the things from the heart of Guru Maharaj. No, so I appreciated that a lot, because it shows this, so to say, 50-50%. No, of course the great Mahabhagavad is sharing so much revelation, but also the sincerity of the inquirer, the disposition of those who are present. That's bringing so much into the picture as well. So, and again, I'm not saying all that to counteract your affection to me and trying to make it. It's real. No, it's real. I know it. I feel it. I mean, I've given, I don't know, at this point, I don't know. I haven't counted how many lectures I've given in the last 25 years, but a few thousand for sure. And I have experience on that. I have experienced that. I mean, it's not about me. No, it's not about me. So it's really instrumental. No, it's really mystical, beautiful. So thank you for being such a crucial part of the equation. And you have to accept that also. You have to take responsibility for that. You follow my point? It's not so much, oh, Maharaj, you're so nice. You're doing everything for us, and we are so nourished by you. Yeah. But you have a part to play also. You have a role. You have an influence. You have a commitment. Because if not, we are starting to create a personality cult, basically. And again, over-idealization and not taking our own responsibility. So each one is bringing their own masala, their own spice to the masala. It's not a one-man show performance, because that's not healthy for me, and that's not healthy for you. So just to remind each other of the role and the influence that each one has on everyone else. I think that's a very healthy and sober community. No, so for us, when we speak about Tadatmya Sangha, about the type of tribe that we are trying to create in a very spontaneous way, there are no institution, no particular filters in that sense, but there are some ethic. No, there are some codes in, okay, we want to relate to each other from a healthy place, from a sane place, no, including myself. Not so we need to interact with each other in a way that is sustainable for everyone. No, we don't want to end up in the madhouse, to send the rest of the community to the madhouse. So, and I'm not saying it's happening. I'm just saying it as a cautionary note, so to say, because everything can happen also if we don't take care and remain aware and take care of each other. That's my point. No? This, all that I'm saying is just, let's take care of each other. We need to protect each other. We need to be protected from ourselves. We need well-wishers, brothers and sisters. Hopefully we can get in time to get to know each other more and more, as to accompany each other in our journey in a personalized way. That's, for me, that's heaven, so to say. Okay, I still see many hands, and it seems that the direction of today's meeting is already, the tone has been set, so I'll have to reduce my commentaries to each one's contribution then, it seems. So, Rasangi, your turn.
I didn't know I was next, but oh dear. So, I mean, Prabhupada called it being packed up tight. being packed up tight, right?
What
Like
does it mean? I don't understand.
that we're together tightly. That's how we survive.
Pack,
That's how
pack,
we
pack.
roll.
What is
Pack-
packed up?
Packed up tight.
Oh,
Together.
type. Okay. Yeah.
In close proximity and connection with one another. And that's how we grow and we thrive. So I wrote something because that's what I learned from Prabhupada. In Japan, in one of the very first Vyasa Pujas, they didn't know what to do. They didn't know how to glorify him. Tamal was there and Sudama, and they blew it. They didn't know anything. Prabhupada was disappointed. He said, write down some offering, prepare some food, and come back tomorrow. But he had them write down their thoughts and their feelings.
Mm-hmm.
And so the next day they came, and it was a wonderful thing. It was successful, and Prabhupada was very happy. So I wrote something just to gather my thoughts.
Okay.
So, dear Padmanabha Swami, a few thoughts of appreciation of your presence in my life on your lunar birthday. And finding you a couple of years ago on the internet, when you were still part of your previous Sangha, I was charmed and attracted to what you were saying. I didn't even know why, but it spoke to my heart. And then during the transition, I was reading to Tadatmya Sangha. I was reading Radical Personalism, studying it, and implementing the things you wrote in it to my own life. And since that time, and having wholeheartedly embraced the Vaishnava reform attitude, my devotional life has deepened and accelerated both internally and externally. Although what you're bringing is not new to me, since I've been trying to heal myself for about 40 years, you've given a spiritual sanction, so to speak, to pay close attention and tenderly deal and heal with the wounds of life that stand between ourselves and our most cherished goal, which is to live every day realizing that we are the beloved of the most wonderful, beautiful flute-playing Lord ever. I believe now that it's not a deviation from our spiritual path, but is essential in attaining bhakti. And that's huge, a huge confirmation and a big om for me. Thinking that all these years, I'm off the wall, I'm going off into New Age, but you've brought it to us as a part of this bhakti path, which I'm so internally indebted to you for. And one of the major changes that I've seen in my life is the courage to take the blinders off and the masks down, which have kept me in unhealthy and compromised relationships for many years. My commitment to being honest, and you said it in the beginning, and you gave me courage to read this, by being encouraged to tell our truth, stand in our truth, and being willing to look at what is, as scary as it may be, has been possible because of your confidence and fervor for becoming unboxed and unbonsaied. Becoming unboxed and unbonsaied. Instead of staying the status quo, because it is familiar and comfortable, I'm shedding layers of ahankara and discovering a vibrant, alive, excited about life woman in myself. No longer do I care to fit in, but yearn for the sweetness and fertile ground of belonging. And I'm willing to risk discomfort and even embarrassment to have it. Your convicted focus that we are loved by Krishna unconditionally, exactly as we are, warts and all, has given me confidence to risk removing the so-called protective masks to discover more who I am every day. As a flower unfolds its petals, it has not been easy, actually quite painful, sort of like walking through fire sometimes, walking through fire, Yet I see the results of who is emerging as a more authentic, strong, clear, and joy-filled person. My prayer is, for many years, has been that, Radha Krishna, please make me fit to be able to serve you in this world and in this life, using who I am, my gifts and skills, as an expression of your love and beauty. What I've gained in association with you and all the other brave, courageous, beautiful souls you have gathered together is the opportunity to do just that. It seems that what we're doing is creating a healthy family rather than a dysfunctional one, where we can all grow into being all that we were meant to be, thus fulfilling our purpose here in this place of Krishna's overflowing love and ecstasy. No more prison house, no more hell. This is an overflowing of Krishna's love and ecstasy. And for me to be a part of that, I need to imbibe that and believe it. I'm remembering and rediscovering the young seeker that I was in my 20s, when all that was important to me was going off to an ashram, to a mountain, sitting alone in the headlands of Mendocino, or wandering fearlessly in the forest, trying to find God. It feels like that little bird has been let out of her cage and is now taking flight again. You brought her back. She was buried under rules and regs for years of shoulds and supposed to's. So, last sentence, bless you, Maharaj, on your journey for many years to come. And thank you from deep in my heart for welcoming me to come along with you.
Amen. Thank you, Rasangiji. What to say? I have no words.
By the way, to not reciprocate a gift is ungrateful. So I felt I needed to reciprocate.
Yeah. So now I have to say something to reciprocate your gift to me, because if not, I will be ungrateful. That's what keeps the thing going on for eternity, where I hope to meet you all, of course, right? So, yeah, thank you. I feel humbled. I feel moved by your testimonies and your words, and you're giving me a chance to get a further glimpse of your inner journey of transformation, and I deeply value your talking to you, Rasangi, and also to all of you, and your willingness to embrace the journey and the adventure, because it's not easy. Also, no? We're not here painting like an easy thing. It's not, that will be an automatic, you press a button and everything goes fine and Hare Krishna. I mean, this is a journey. It's complicated. There are things to confront, things to let go, to release. And of course, we have been sharing with Rasangi throughout these last years. And I appreciate her willingness to be willing to, in one sense, to start all over again, to give yourself a second opportunity and feel like I'm restarting the process. And like you, many other elders have told me that. And that's so humbling for me, because I'm like, okay, I hope that whenever if I am supposed to reach the age you may have, 60 something, 70 something, and you're willing to start all over again in one way, wow. I want to be that. I want to have 70, 80, 60 and remain like, oh, I'm a student, I'm starting, I'm beginning from zero, I'm willing to unlearn. Oh my gosh, that's not easy. So that speaks about your commitment to the truth, no? Your willingness to embrace the journey for what it is, and not just being Krishna consciousness for some social convention or some like personal interest or position, fame, whatever, but just I want the real thing, no? And the real thing may be demanding, maybe intense, maybe challenging, maybe unsettling, and I want it. So because I want it, I'm willing to do whatever needs to be done, no, in a sustainable way, healthy way. But yeah, basically that. I appreciate your courageousness, Rasangi, and I'm humbled by seeing the willingness to change and to remain open to transformation. How, as imperfectly as we may still do it, just have the sincere willingness to do that. That's like, for me, kind of heroic and miraculous. So I'm so grateful to be able to witness, be surrounded by many of you who have that willingness, not only as elders, but in any different stage of the journey. So thank you. The depth keeps increasing. Thank you for that. Jugal Kishore, your turn.
Hare Krishna. Well, I didn't prepare anything, and I'm always a little greedy to ask questions, but I don't want to fall out of step with all of these beautiful offerings. I guess I'll just share one thing. I had a dream a few weeks ago, and Swami, you presenced me in this dream, so you didn't know, but thanks, you were there. And you were walking one direction, and the first brahmachari in saffron I ever met was walking in the other direction. And I I looked at you, and you were very confident moving, and I looked at him, and I somehow my heart pulled me towards him to just embrace him and give him a hug and thank him for what he had offered me then. And it felt pure, it didn't, and I've had not always the most pure association with this person, but it felt pure. And I woke up and I reflected, and it kind of dawned on me that I can't follow I can't follow a sadhu that's moving towards the truth until I've embraced my past and made forgiveness and gratitude for my past, how I've gotten where I am now. And then you've enabled me to do that. And everybody in this Sangha has enabled me to do that. So I think that now now I'm not really afraid anymore. I'm okay with what's happened in my past, and I'm able to take responsibility. And I don't know how we would be able to do that if it wasn't for, firstly, people with position being vulnerable. So your vulnerability has, I think, allowed everyone's heart to crack open. It's really exciting. I don't know what will come out. Certainly some maybe ugly things will pop their heads out of my heart on occasion, but I know there's some deep beauty there too. So I'm just so grateful. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. It's reciprocal, right? So thank you. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for extending the story of your life, the story of your transformation, and being willing to be who you are. I know that saying that can be frightening. Now, if someone is inviting you to be who you are, that can be terrifying. But of course, at the same time, we are trying, but to say those things, but also to provide some, not only example, but provide some, again, Sangha, some sacred space, to hold space so everyone can be who they are, and it's okay, and everyone survives the attempt, so to say. Because if not, it can sound suicidal. Like, okay, be who you are, no problem, you can be who you are, but if you feel this is not safe space to do that, I may be killed in 5 seconds. So before saying that, we need to craft safety in the environment. So we have been working on that. We are continuing to work on that. Never perfect enough. It can always be more perfect, but And I appreciate your mention of vulnerability, not because I'm doing that perfectly at all, to be honest, but of course, by force of circumstance, one was, okay, it seems you have to be vulnerable now, Swami Padmanabha, so I had to. And I tried because I felt the need to do that. I felt that if I'm not vulnerable here, I'm not passing this test. No? And if I'm not passing this test, I don't know what will happen with me, because you know which test I'm talking about. So it was like that, you know, like, be vulnerable and pass the test, don't be vulnerable, and I don't know what will happen. so that was intense, but yeah, I can see how somehow if you are holding some position of responsibility, or some people is taking you as a reference point, by being vulnerable, which also being vulnerable hopefully in some place also implies that you're in an uncomfortable situation, a painful situation, and you are holding the pain somehow, not only your pain but the pain of many others, and somehow that creates a redemptive, that has a redemptive effect on the environment. And I'm not saying again that like saying I am the one doing that. All of us have to do that some level or another. I don't want just to bring the Jesus standard, like be on the cross and endure the pain and integrate the pain of others and hold that and that. But on some level or another, we have to follow into those type of footsteps. We have to develop some capacity of holding pain and suffering in a healthy way, again, a healthy way, but and transform that, integrate it in a way that is redemptive for others, right? And holding pain also allows us to be space holders, to hold space. Now, you can hold space and sacred and safe space for others if you are not able to hold pain. It's not possible. It's proportionate to how much you are able to hold pain properly. You can hold space and that can be safe. So again, I'm not saying I'm doing that perfectly at all, but I feel very clearly it goes in that direction. Especially if we want to heal and to help others to heal ourselves. I mean, there's so much healing that needs to take place. So many layers. We are starting to peel the first layers to realize, okay, so much to be healed. So for that to happen, safe space needs to be there. And for that to happen, we need to be committed and willing to, yeah. Also hold pain and suffering. Vulnerability is all about that, right? So thank you, Jugal Kishore.
I had one flash in my mind as you were talking, so I'll just add one small thing.
Okay.
You know, to surrender, we throw our hands up in the air, but we also do that to dance.
Yeah. There shouldn't be that much difference between those two. Yeah. Don't invite me to talk about that, because that can be a long conversation. And that is beautiful. Like dance. What's dance? No, dance is not just like showing off, but dance is a form of surrender, technically speaking. Yeah. To dance freely, to release and to dance freely. I mean, that's surrender. No? Many people, I mean, dance is exposition. Many people, when they dance to show off or to fit in or to impress others or to look in. But dance from a vulnerable place of abandon, that's not so easy. It's like being naked, basically, and not caring for what people will think about it. Oh, that's surrender. So I appreciate the correlation you made between surrender and dancing. Yeah. And how Krishna reciprocates with that. Just to conclude, one beautiful verse that I happened to found recently on the Mahabharata, that Draupadi is famous to raising her two hands in surrender where she was being disrobed, right? And Krishna manifested in a very unusual form. Krishna incarnated as unlimited sari. But in the aftermath of the whole thing, there's one verse in Mahabharata, Krishna is telling to Draupadi, like, since that moment that you cried out for me, that crying out has created a depth in my heart that I'm not able to repay back. That's Krishna telling to Draupadi. Even though he appeared, sorry, protected her, everything okay, life goes on. No, it's not over for Krishna. In his heart, he felt the way you are, you offered yourself to me with surrender. That has created a depth in my heart that I'm not able to repay. So that's the God we worship, and just in case to be reminded of the real Krishna. Thank you, Jugal Kishore. So we go from the US, crossing the ocean, and we land in the UK with Jamunaji.
Happy birthday, Maharaj. So this is just a simple sharing. Every morning when I do puja, which I've been doing for a few decades, I recite, the verse Om Jnana Timirandasya. And it's always Srila Prabhupada that opened my eyes from the darkness of ignorance. And he put fire, spiritual fire, into my life. But now when I say that verse with the foundation of Srila Prabhupada giving that fire, it's you who put the logs on the fire that burn daily with just new vision, new aha moments. Because when I'm doing puja, I'm listening to your class. And it's just a very beautiful, I haven't had it before, other than being able to relate that verse to Srila Prabhupada. I haven't had that in my life. I couldn't understand quite how somebody felt like that about a spiritual teacher. And so for me, that verse is alive. Most verses aren't alive for me, but that one is very alive, and I love saying it many times a day. So thank you for being alive in my life. Thank you, Anuradha, for bringing him into my life, even though I rejected the first class when she
really?
shared. Yeah.
You did have told me that one, Jamuna, I think.
Yeah, I said, I didn't
You
like
tell me?
Your accent. I had many prejudices, and your accent was one of them. So there we go.
My accent, okay. I'm from Argentina. What do you want?
I know. Listen to my Cockney.
Sorry, I don't have the British Adhikar standard. And no, it's not in this lifetime. Sorry so much. Sorry.
Everything's an American accent. I was only used to that. So anyway, now it's one of the sweet ornaments.
I need to visit the UK more so I get embedded with more.
No.
The Uttam version of English, right? Yeah.
Your accent is one of your charms. So yeah, I just want to thank you, because through so many challenges that have come, especially this last year and a half has been a great one for that. You've been there, and you show me how to take shelter of Krishna through you being there. So thank you. And I ditto what everybody else has said. It's like everyone is speaking what's going on in my heart. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. And of course, again, for me, it sounds like, of course, we are different individuals, but I could somehow take these words and send them back to each one of you, because in one sense, from the different role, maybe in different relationship, but still you're showing me Krishna in a new light and giving me in particular commitment and enthusiasm and perspective. And again, your willingness to listen and your openness to receive, it's feeding me as well. It's a log in my own fire, so to say. So not to just say, okay, I could say the same thing, but yeah, in one sense, that's possible. And of course, regarding what you mentioned about the mantra, I'm humbled by that. And at the end of the day, of course, it's, as we always say, Guru is one ultimately, right? So we are all working. It's all a team, no? And I'm not saying that I'm a guru. What's a guru? Again, it's a long conversation, but in one sense, all of us should represent Guru Tattva for each other. I mean, it's not just like, here comes the big Acharya and he is Guru, she's Guru, and no, all of us have nothing to do with that. No. again, you are supposed to to embody that principle as much as you can. Even you are not giving initiation, that's secondary detail, but how much you are allowing the department of grace and revelation to express itself through you, that's your own choice and your own commitment. So my point with all this is that, yeah, we are not competing with one another. It's not like, oh, now you were offering that mantra and Prabhupada was in your mind. Now came Swami Padmanabha. What's going on there? There's a problem. And then eventually someone else may come. As long as it's in aligned with the spirit of service, is our deity, so to say. I mean, it's all, and I'm of course compare myself with Prabhupada or anything like that, of course, and make that clear just in case, so nobody makes it real, taking 10 seconds out of context of my words, and it's like, here we have it, finally, the final proof about Swami Padmanabha. Anyhow, but yeah, at the end of the day, Guru is one, if you will. No, I mean, there's no competition between sincere agents of the truth, and I may not be that, but I want to be a sincere agent of the truth. So, and if you feel that inspiration, again, I cannot argue to convince you back to stop thinking about me when you recite that mantra, no, and think about. I mean, it doesn't happen like that. No? So again, it goes back to my original point. Like, okay, that's going on. What to do with that? Myself, how to process that feeling and inspiration from the other person without getting, like, how to say, yeah, confused, to say the least. So it's beautiful because it forces me to go deeper into the truth of what's Guru and how we are all, it's a teamwork, and we are all serving together for the same idea. We are all students of the same idea, and the more students we are and servants we are, the more you become Guru, basically. Whether you are giving initiation or not, the more you are allowing yourself to be a channel of truth, you become Guru. On one of one type, at least. You know, you can have the Guru as the instructor, giving initiation, different functions in the Guru realm. But again, no, so yeah, thank you for sharing. And of course, you know very well that we are in this together, Jamuna, so the journey goes on, and I already told you that in today's message, so it's not that I'm making public here whatever I share with each of you personally today. But of course, I'm very happy to see your, even if in 1 year, 2 years, and that applies to you and to so many others that I just came to know relatively a few years ago, and seeing so much change and so much transformation and so much, wow, that mirrors back to me like, wow, there is transformation here. The whole thing is working. These people is experiencing an epiphany. They're like, okay, this is for real. No, so that comes back to me to reinforce my own faith and my own conviction. So thank you for being such a beautiful reflection as well. Yeah. Okay. Karuneshwari, yes, Karuneshwari.
Yeah. Hare Krishna Maharaj, happy birthday.
Thank you.
I already did send you a little message earlier, but it wasn't really what I wanted to say because I was too busy struggling with the phone technology to get it to record. So I'm also really inspired by listening to the devotees here and by what you were saying yourself earlier about how it's all of us together. And that reminded me, I was thinking back to the first time I wrote to you. And again, I have to thank Anuradha like Yamuna did, because it was Anuradha who introduced me to you specifically. And a little bit like Yamuna, we have so much in common. A little bit like Yamuna, I also didn't warm to the first lecture, which I haven't told you about either, for exactly the same reason.
I have to be careful with these British people, what to do, right?
Which is so shallow, but it just shows you how we get tripped up by these things, you know. But that first time that I wrote to you, I had so coming back to the point about how it's, you know, all of the devotees in relationship with each other that creates this special thing. I just listened to your podcast at the time with Jai Jagannath. And I was in a very kind of lost, confused space at that time, not knowing where I was on the spiritual path at all. And I've told you some of this before, but not even knowing if I was on the belonging to the Bhakti path anymore. It had got so confused. And then in your conversation with Jai Jagannath in that podcast, about 5 or 6 points felt like Krishna was just speaking directly to me, exactly what I would needed to hear on that day at that time. And I started like scribbling them down. And then as soon as I finished listening, it wasn't live, but it was after, I wrote to you immediately, and I mentioned how much that had helped me. And then I was so surprised to get a reply back from you so quickly. Like it was either the same day or the next day, which was, not in my usual experience. So that churning that you do with other people, whether it's, devotees in, the Gaudiya Vaishnava tradition or devotees in other traditions, has just brought about so much that's been really helpful to me. I'm so grateful for that, because like some years ago, maybe as far back as 10 years ago, I started to really feel strongly that I couldn't relate to the sectarianism that was in our community anymore. And that was really, it was really putting me off. It just wasn't working for me, but I couldn't really find at that time like other people who felt like that. And that was part of my starting to feel like I was drifting in another direction. And, what you were saying earlier this morning about this, if you have the diversity without unity, then that's when you have a real problem. I really relate to that. So I've just been realizing that when I started to follow my heart all those years ago, following my own intuition about looking for something non-sectarian, that was the right thing to do, but it took me a long time to understand that. And then coming to you and your perspective, it's just, I can fully embrace this. This is exactly what I've been looking for. And I feel really grateful to you and to Krishna and to everyone that's led me in this direction, because I can relate to it. So I feel like I belong somewhere. I feel like I belong in this community. And, becoming more aware recently that everyone is looking for community. Everyone's looking for community, because it's nice to have a few close friends. It's nice to have some close people in your life, if it's family, whoever it is, but we want more than that. We want community, and you've brought that. You've introduced us all to each other, and it's really helped me to grow and feel much more secure. It's a journey. I've come from a very insecure background. It's not going to happen overnight, but I feel much, much more secure than I did, before coming across yourself and Tadatmya. So just feel very, very grateful, and really looking forward to continuing the journey with you and with everyone here. So Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Karuneshwari. And yeah, as you describe your own journey, of course, I don't want to plagiarize each one of you and say I could say the same things in return, but basically all this articulation of radical personalism that which eventually gave shape to Tadatmya Sangha, and here we are today. Also, for me, it was my own personal process to, okay, how do I keep Krishna consciousness relatable to me? Because there are a few things going on that do not compute and are not aligned with the tradition. I mean, I know some Shastra. I'm not saying I'm a Pandit, but I know some, so I can see okay, this is not what is supposed to be happening. This is not the teaching. This is not the proper conception. This is not the proper way of applying, even if you have the proper conception. So how do I continue as a devotee for the right reasons? Of course, I wrote about that in the book. How do I keep it relevant and relatable? So it was my own, first and foremost, my own concern. Like, okay, how do I remain? Do I want to remain devotee? First of all, should I stay or should I go? That's why I call the introduction of my book from that place. Should I stay or should I go? If I want to stay, how to stay? How to stay in a way that is valid? It's not toxic, because you can, as I mentioned in the book, you can stay in the Gaudiya Vaishnava community for the wrong reasons. No. And some people, as I mentioned in the book, and I know that's a strong statement, but some people leave Gaudiya Vaishnavism for better reasons than those who stay. No? Some people stay for the wrong reasons, and some people live for the same reasons that other people stay. Let's put it that way. So yeah, and I don't want to cheat myself. I don't want to betray myself. That would be the worst thing I could ever done. And so what to do? So basically that's what came as a result of that desperate need and exploration. Okay, how to survive this whole thing, and not only survive, but just thrive and grow. And of course, Krishna was there to give shelter and mercy and inspiration. There was some, I will say, some sincerity in this attempt, and there was some reward to that by Krishna's grace. And then eventually, so many of you felt touched by that. So that for me was a very beautiful confirmation and empowerment for my own journey, because of course you go through difficult dynamics in your own journey, and you also want to be open to doubt yourself. You don't want to be just absolutely sure that whatever you're doing is perfect and correct. So there are moments when you are like, I'm doing this, I'm going crazy, or is this correct? And no, it's my gut feeling is saying it's fine, but just in case, I like to ask that. So when there is some mutual collective consensus, like all of you aligned and feeling this transformation, inspiration, and relatability, and rediscovering Krishna consciousness together, okay, that's overwhelmingly, that makes it overwhelmingly clear for me, right? And that gives so much support and empowering for me to say, okay, let's continue, let's go deeper then. Okay, we are on the right track, let's go deeper now, let's continue going deep, because there is no end to the journey. So thank you for that, and thank you especially to you also, of course, Karuneshwari, Ravindraji over there, for your affectionate friendship and support and presence. Very important always. Okay, I'm seeing one more hand raised. Subilasini Madhavi. Did we ever met? Did we ever met Subilasini Madhavi? No. Okay.
No.
I mean, I saw you in some previous calls, but yeah, I was just wondering if we ever met. Okay, pleasure to meet you.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, please accept my respectful obeisance. Very happy birthday, Maharaj. So I've been listening to your lecture online for about 1.5 years. I got introduced to your teachings by Namarasa Prabhu's podcast. And,
okay, can you talk a little closer to the computer or the phone? A little bit closer so I can hear better. I heard that part, but a little bit closer will help. Yeah, thank you. So now Rasa's podcast, he's to blame then, again. Okay.
I started listening to my YouTube lectures closely, and on the radical personalism tour I've been following. And especially one thing that struck me was that I felt that
it's not easy to listen to you. Somehow it's some problem with the, I don't know, at least for me, I don't know if for you, but I'm getting like.
Maharaj, is it okay now?
Yeah, now it's better. Thank you.
Okay. I always felt that while going to a congregation or going to a temple, somehow it always felt like a performance. I go somehow, once the performance is over, I come back home and it feels like, oh, the show is over. So that sort of mentality was somehow going on within me. But when I heard Maharaj's talk on something like about darshan, taking darshan, how we have to be very vulnerable in front of Krishna. And so that's when I started to unlearn a lot of things, Maharaj, because many things that have been considered a dynamic, I was able to relate that it was all spiritual bypassing that I was doing, but somehow I was convincing myself that it was advancement. And so I'm still unlearning a lot of things through Maharaj's lectures and series. So I stumbled upon this Q&A session on Spotify 2 weeks back, and so I decided I just wanted to join, and I want to get connected to the community here, Maharaj. Thank you so much, Maharaj.
Wow, thank you. Welcome. Welcome, and thanks so much for joining and sharing a little bit your story. And you are not alone in those experiences. I was listening to you and seeing the face of many who were like, yeah, go into the temple performing, not to criticize the temple. It's just like how we take it. And yeah, it's kind of like, okay, the show is over, as you mentioned. Next Sunday, show must go on, as the song is saying, right? Show must go on. But we want it to be more, I like the word normal, right? Normal, and from that base of normal, yeah, more deep, more profound, more mystical, and more an invitation to be who we are again. So I appreciate that. Yeah, the concept of darshan and being seen transparently by Bhagavan and allowing that seeing, wow, that's so powerful. Yeah, I know. Actually, one of the main ideas in that connection, I remember reading them first by Father Richard Rohr. So that's very interesting because he's, of course, as you know, Franciscan writer and mentor to me, but he's not a Gaudiya Vaishnava. But when he sometimes he invokes ideas like this, okay, darshan, and he explains darshan in a way that no Gaudiya Vaishnava explained that to me before. So that's very interesting, right? That's very beautiful. So we remain open to that. So anyhow, thank you, Subhalasini, for coming and taking the step to join these gatherings, and hopefully you can find some nourishing company and support and whatever needs to nourish your journey. So thank you. I saw Sam raising his hand and now he put his hand down. Sam, what's going on there? I saw you.
I was I was going to say something and then I thought, oh, I don't feel like it's fully formed yet, so I'm going to send you an email.
But you have to say something now.
Okay, well, I did have something I was going to say, but I was really.
You're super articulate. You're more articulate than all of us put together. So please.
So, well, first of all, happy birthday. And I mean, I was just thinking about, just from what everyone said, so much was being churned up and inspired. And it was when Yamuna and Karuneshwari were saying that there was that they and they I didn't have I wasn't it wasn't your accent, but when my aunt Anuradha showed me a video, my first initial reaction was, it's just a it's just
I need some humiliation in the midst of all this praise. So please.
I just thought, well,
balance the whole equation, please.
I thought, oh, this is an Auntie Anu thing. That's what I thought. This is Auntie Anu's thing, and I thought, and I was listening to your video, and I thought, yeah, I really like what you're saying, but ultimately, I was thinking, this is more her thing, this isn't my thing, and it was. I remember that when Auntie Anu was going to come up to see you, we were going to stay with Yamuna about a year and a half ago, or however. And my initial intention was, I'll go with my aunt, because she's, I don't want her to be on her own. So I had no expectations that I was gonna form such a big loving attachment to you. So when I first met you, I was really put at ease immediately, and it just totally changed how I perceived people who have accepted the order of sannyas. It totally changed it, because I always just saw them as the school headmaster, that you have to behave in front of, and you can't say anything out of place, and it has to all be textbook, And with you, that was so different because it was so refreshing, talking to you and being able to actually have a real conversation that wasn't strained by preconceived ideas about that had been collected over the years about what it means to be in front of someone with someone who's in a position of being an elder or a person you see as a confidant, And I'd never seen anyone else as a sannyas like that. I'd never seen them as someone I could take shelter of as a dear friend and a confidential advisor and someone who I love very much, So I never had that before. And it was really funny because the initial thing that had actually attracted me, because over the years I've always liked how beards look, because people get like mustaches and things like that. And I noticed
I didn't get that part. What, sorry?
I said that the way Krishna hooked me in,
yes,
was I developed like a fascination with beards of all shapes and sizes, and because you have a beard, that's what hooked me in.
My beard?
Well, no, not your beard, but just
Krishna. I don't have beard. I just have a few hairs here.
No, but you've got facial hair, and that's what matters. So so I was just thinking how funny Krishna is, in that he uses everything. By hook or by crook, he gets you. So that's why I remember seeing it thinking, oh, he actually looks really cool. That's what sealed the deal. But obviously
we have to begin somewhere. I appreciate it, no problem.
But obviously it was the way you are and the way you speak about Krishna, and you make it so accessible. You make it so you bring Krishna to not bring him to a position, but you reveal to us that he's so approachable. There's nothing about Krishna that is unapproachable, and he's not this standoffish, sort of God that lives in the clouds, And I just feel really grateful because through you, it's changed everything for the better. And I feel really grateful to that, and I feel really fortunate to be a part of your life, and to be able to receive your own personal revelations on Bhakti and Krishna consciousness, and how it's not limited or constrained, and that and and that's it. That's pretty much it.
Thank you, dear.
As that's my eccentric offering.
Fine. We need the Abadut. We need some eccentricity in the masala. You always bring it in the Hasya Rasa. You always bring lots of laughter also. So thank you. Thank you. And I also feel very close to you, and I really appreciate our connection since moment one. So looking forward that the journey continues to unfold and continues to happen, and excited about the next chapter and brotherhood and so many other layers of connections that are going on. So
very much so.
Thank you, Sam. Saragrahi from Finland.
Dandavat Maharaj. I wasn't planning to say anything, as you know, and yeah, I was traveling and I just came, and so I'm not prepared, but I felt like, okay, if you push someone else, and I felt like halfway there, maybe saying something though, so I need to get out of this zone of comfort. Perhaps I don't know most of you like personally, but yeah, I really do appreciate Sangha here whenever I'm coming, and I'm kind of hiding, but yeah. What I wanted to perhaps only add, because I agree with everything everyone's shared here, I really feel it as well very much. But I wanted to mention what is really big thing, which I feel I got from your association recently and years back, but definitely recently. Because as I remember you from still being in our previous Sangha, I remember always you being quite strong personality. I always felt this determination, this revolution, but this positive revolution. And now the book is like radical personality, so also very kind of strong words. But I always very much appreciated that what it comes with it is also this gentleness. And especially I can see it in the dealings with me personally. I can see it very clearly that after what we went through, all this struggle of this last 2 years, it's just, I got the space from you for healing, but I always, and you dealt with me very gentle, and I always felt that still you are there all the time. So that I could say, yeah, I'm not so good. And you've been there, and I didn't need to say anything else. I didn't need to share, just the feeling that you were there. It was a big blessing for me, and I wanted to share that. I wasn't planning to cry. I wasn't planning to speak, but that was, and same thing with you when Yugala was saying one thing. I'm going through this healing in different ways, and I'm writing diary as well, and I'm going through some exercise and things like that. And I have I'm just finishing today one of my diaries from 1 year, and I have first picture because I'm drawing as well. And my first picture is based on one quote, which is like that I am not sure if I am reaching for the stars or just standing in the dark with my hands in the air. And then Yugala said the things that surrender, and then you start to dance. And really, after this 1 year of this healing and this all exercises I went through and this all struggle, I kind of, it made sense, and it was kind of nice loop now that he said it and you continue, you had some words about it as well. So I really want to say thank you to all the Sangha, and I really hope that I will meet at least some of you in UK. I love UK. Yeah, my sister lives there. So I really hope that I'll be able to meet you all. And thank you, and happy birthday once more. Thank you, Bhakti, so very much.
Thank you, dear Saragrahiji. And yeah, you are a very dear sister to me, and we have shared very intense chapters together. We have had very nice sharing today also personally. So yeah, I feel very, very happy having you in my life. And so I'm happy that you could feel my presence even when there was no need to speak or to talk. Sometimes we just need to be there for each other, and I can understand. Yeah, sometimes we need to know that the person is there, even though we may not be in the moment to talk, and that can happen to all of us. But just to have that deep, certainty. Okay, I'm being, there's space being held, holding space. And I'm saying that because I'm also receiving that. So because of having received that, I've been able, or trying to extend that to others as well. We all need that to both receive and give. So thank you for your words, deeply in depth. And yes, looking forward to meeting with you in 3D, probably in India. Let's say, let me know when you are coming, to which place. If not, UK sounds like a plan. Okay, we have gone a little bit today beyond the normal time, but anyhow, what to do? So we can conclude here, but of course, I don't know, we can do the breakout rooms, or what do you think? Or today is not so much the mood? No, the mood was other one. Okay. Bhaktirasa is not giving the boss is not giving permission, so we submit accordingly. So we'll conclude here, and next Saturday, we will continue with dynamics, more standard dynamics, so to say, of interaction with the Q&A. And thank you so much to all of you, really, sincerely, to each one of you, for your presence, the gift of your presence, the gift of your love, friendship, brotherhood, sisterhood, and the commitment to the ideal, the adventurous spirit, the courageousness, and the vulnerability of embracing all the crazy stuff I talk about, and somehow being on with that and joining all that with all that it takes. But again, we have each other also, no? So we are not alone, and that gives so much hope and so much empowerment to each other, including me. So thank you for empowering me on a daily basis, for nourishing my journey, and for giving me a chance to somehow or other be useful in reciprocation. Thank you. Thank you so much. So, Dandavat to all of you. Thank you, Bhaktarasa. Thank you, Sam, Anuradha, Dandavat, Jugal Kishore, Jivan Prabhu, Mayapur Sangam, Lakshmi Priya Dandavat, Subilasini Madhavi, Nitai Lila. Thank you so much. Archana Siddhi, nice to see you so much. Who else? Kanupriya, nice to see you from Germany. Balaram from New Zealand, Vrindavan, Dandavat. Martina, Belgium, Anutam Chitra, Chennai. Anyhow, Karuneshwari and Rabindraji, yes, he's there as well. Dandavat to Shatudev Radicals and Amanda Vikram, Ireland, Jamuna Ji, Rasangi, Maheshwar, Saragrahi, Dandavat, Gorcharam Prabhu, Dandavat, Narayani, Pranam, thank you for joining us. Welcome. Gayatri Devi also there. Dandavat, and who else is there? Katie, nice to see you. Thanks for joining us. Dayan, Dandavat also welcome. Thank you so much. iPhone, whomever is behind that one. Dandavat, and thanks for joining. Who else is there? Mayavan, here nearby in Mayapur. Thanks for joining despite the late timing here. And those who had to leave because we went a little bit too long, Manjwali and many others. So thank you so much to all of you. It has been a beautiful gift. Surprised to have your presence all together here. I'm getting attached to seeing you together next Saturday as well. So hopefully Krishna fulfills my desires, my selfish aspirations, and we can continue feeding each other as deeply as we can. So thank you so much. It has been a beautiful day, beautiful birthday. Looking forward to continue celebrating and being born again together, dying together, being born again together. As my dear friend Sumati will say, for the rest of forever, right? Shri Sachinandan Gaur Hari Ki Jai, Shri Harinam Ki Jai, Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai, Shri Upastami Ki Jai, Subal Veshmilan Ki, so many other celebrations Ki Jai, the celebration of each one of you Ki Jai. Sadhu Sangha Ki Jai, Gaur Preman Hari Jai Vancha Kalpataru Vischa Kripa Sindhu Vyeva Chapati